Joseph's stolen cup. Now Joseph commanded the steward of his house, saying, fill the man's sacks with. Oh, wait a minute. Did I just read from that? No. Okay. Joseph's stolen cup. Now Joseph commanded the steward of his house, saying, fill the men's sacks with food, as much as they can carry, and put each man's money in the mouth of his sack. Also put my cup, the silver cup, in the mouth of the sack of the youngest, and his grain money. So he did according to the word Joseph had spoken. As soon as the morning dawned, the men were sent away, they and their donkeys, when they had gone out of the city and were not yet far off. Joseph said to his steward, get up and follow the men. And when you overtake them, say to them, why have you repaid evil for good? Why have you stolen my silver cup? Is not this the cup from which my Lord drinks, and with which he indeed practices divination? You have done evil in so doing. So he overtook them, and he spoke to them these same words. But they said to him, why does my Lord say these words? Far be it from us that your servants should do such a thing. Look, we brought back to you from the land of Canaan the money we found in the mouth of our sacks. How then could we steal silver and gold from your Lord's house? With whomever of your servants it is found, let him die, and we also will be my Lord's servants. Then he replied, now, as you say, so it will be. He with whom it is found shall be my servant, and you shall be blameless. Then each man speedily let down his sack to the ground, and each opened his sack. So he searched the oldest and left off with the youngest, and the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. Then they tore their clothes, and each man loaded his donkey and returned to the city. So Judah and his brothers came to Joseph's house, and he was still there, and they fell before him on the ground. Thus Joseph said to them, what is this thing you have done? And did you know that such a man as I can certainly practice divination? Then Judah said, what shall we say to you, to my Lord? What shall we speak? Or how shall we clear ourselves? God has found out the wrongdoing of your servants. Here we are, my Lord's slaves, both we and he also with whom the cup was found. God has found out the wrongdoing of your servants. Here we are, my Lord's slaves, both we and he also with whom the cup was found. But Joseph said, far be it from me that I should do so. The man is in whose hand the cup was found. He shall be my servant. And as for you, go up in peace to your father. Judah speaks up for Benjamin. Then Judah came near to him and said, oh, my Lord, let your servant speak a word into my Lord's hearing, and do not let your anger burn against your servant. For you are even like Pharaoh. My Lord asked his servants, saying, have you a father or a brother? Then we said to my Lord, we have a father, an old man and a child of his old age, who is young. His brother is dead, and he alone is left of his mother's children, and his father loves him. Then you said to your servants, bring him down to me, that I may set my eyes on him. But we said to my Lord, the lad cannot leave his father. For if we should leave his father would die. But you said to your servants, unless your youngest brother comes down with you, you shall see my face no more. So it was when we went up to your servant that we told him the words of my Lord. And our father said, "Go back and bury us a little food." But we said, "We cannot go down. It is if our youngest brother is with us, then we will go down. For we may not see the man's face unless our youngest brother is with us." Then your servant, our father, said to us, "You know, my wife bore me 2 sons, and the one went out from me." And I said, "Surely he was eaten by a wild animal, and I have not seen him since. But if you take this one also from me, and calamity befalls him, you shall bring down my gray hair with sorrow to the grave. Now therefore, when I come to your servant, our father, and he and our now therefore, when I come to your servant, our father, and the lad is not with us, since his life is bound up in the lad's life, it will happen. When he sees the lad is not with us, he will die. So your servants will bring down the gray hair of your servant, our father, with sorrow to the grave. For your servant became surely for the lad to my father, saying, if I do not bring him back to you, then I shall bear the blame before my father all my days. Now therefore, let your servant remain instead of the lad as a servant to my lord. And let the lad go up with his brothers, for how I shall go up to my father if the lad is not with me, lest perhaps I see the evil that would come upon my father. Joseph reveals himself to his brothers. Now Joseph could not restrain himself before all those who stood by him, and he cried out, make everyone go out from me. So no one stood with him, while Joseph made himself known to his brothers. Then he wept aloud, and the Egyptians and the house of Pharaoh heard it. Joseph then said to his brothers, I am Joseph. Does my father still live? But his brothers could not answer him, for they were stunned in his presence. But Joseph said to his brothers, come near to me. So they came near. Then he said, I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. Now therefore, do not be grieved or angry with yourselves because you sold me here. For God sent me before you to save life. For this is the 2nd year of famine in the land, and 5 years still remain, in which there will be neither plowing nor harvesting. For God sent me before you to preserve you as a remnant on the earth, and to sustain you as a great remnant. So now it was not you who sent me here, but God, and he made me a father to Pharaoh, and lords of all his house, and ruler throughout all the land of Egypt. Hurry then, and go up to my father, and say to him, thus says your son Joseph, God made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me, do not tarry. You shall dwell in the land of Goshen, and you shall be near to me, you and your children, your children's children, your sheep and oxen, and all you have. There I will provide for you, lest you and your household and all you have come to poverty. For 5 years of famine still remain. And behold, your eyes and the eyes of my brother Benjamin see, it is my mouth that speaks to you. Therefore, you shall tell my father of all my glory in Egypt, and of all you have seen, and you shall hurry and bring my father down here. Then he fell on his brother Benjamin's neck and wept. And Benjamin wept on his neck. Moreover, he kissed all his brothers and wept over them. And after this, his brothers talked with him. Now the report of it was heard in Pharaoh's house, saying, Joseph's brothers have come. So it pleased Pharaoh and his servants well. So Pharaoh said to Joseph, say to your brothers, do this, load your conveyances and depart. Go to the land of Canaan. Bring your father and your households and come to me. I will give you the best of the land of Egypt, and you'll eat the fat of the land. Now you are commanded. Do this. Take carts out of the land of Egypt for your little ones and your wives. Bring your father and come. Also, do not be concerned about your goods. For the best of all the land of Egypt is yours. Thus, the sons of Israel did so. So Joseph gave them carts according to the command of Pharaoh, and he gave them provisions for the journey. He gave to all of them, to each man, 2 changes of garments. But to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of gold and 5 changes of exceptionally fine garments. He also sent to his father these things: 10 donkeys loaded with the goods of Egypt, and 10 mules loaded with grain, bread, and food for his father for the journey. So he sent his brothers away, and they departed, and said to them, "See that you do not become angry with each other along the way." Then they went up out of Egypt and came to the land of Canaan to Jacob their father. Thus they told him, saying, "Joseph, your son, is still alive, and he is a ruler all over the land of Egypt." But Jacob's mind was completely stunned, for he could not believe them. But when they told him all the words Joseph had said to them, and when he saw the carts of Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of Jacob their father revived. Then Israel said, "It is a great thing to me that my son Joseph is still alive. I will go and see him before I die." Notes from the previous page. 43:28. Joseph honored his father by blessing him in God, which also showed he knew God's grace. In honoring Jacob, he honored God. 43:34. God's grace in people leads to great joy in their midst. 45:1. Joseph made himself known to his brothers, and Jesus makes himself known to his own brethren. John 10:4-14, Hebrews 2:11. 45:5. Joseph's brothers sold him into Egypt, but God sent him there. The brothers sold him for profit, but God sent him to save lives. God overcame their sinful purpose with his saving purpose. Christ died for our sins and thus overcame all injustices for man's salvation. 45:9. God made Joseph Lord of all Egypt, but he made Jesus Lord of all the world. Acts 2:36, 10:36. 45:1-16. This passage, coupled with 43:26-31, is read during Wednesday Vespers in the sixth week of Great Lent. And going back to 45:1, Joseph made himself known to his brothers, and Jesus makes himself known to his own brethren. John 10:4-14 and Hebrews 2:11. That is another literary foreshadowing. That is another theme going along with the whole concept in the Bible of the Old Testament and New Testament coming together once again and foreshadowing things. When Joseph revealed himself to his brothers, it was just like Jesus revealing himself to what he does to his flock, his brethren. However you want to slice that one. And that was one of those things where this is showing foreshadowing. This is showing another theme of what is to come, of how it all correlates, and how these things are connected, and they're connected, interconnected, and how they all relate to one another as far as foreshadowing goes.